My greetings to everyone present here on the auspicious occasion of International Women's Day. As General Nath was asking that when do we celebrate Men's Day, and Desh Deepak Verma sir said that all days except 364 days are for the men. But I beg to differ, sir. I think all 365 days belong equally to men and women.
Yes.
So when we are talking about Women's Day or when we are talking about Men's Day, it is actually the parity in everyday's life, whether it is being in the corporate sector, whether it is in the civil services, or whether it is all, any field we think for. So coming to the question of the panel, so I am very happy to be actually part of this very esteemed discussion because it is bringing me back to my old memories of a brief stint in the corporate sector before I shifted to civil services. By my professional qualification, I did my CS, LLB, LLM, and after my LLB, I actually qualified for the UPSC Civil Services examination. So a brief stint of almost 3 years, I had that experience. And when I got this invite for the panel discussion, when I was actually reading through those reports, so I was a bit happy as well as a bit, I would say, disappointed as well. Why happy? Because when I was interacting at the corporate sector during my time way back in 2004-05. So it is more than 2 decades back. So that time, of course, there were less women. When I did my ROC training in 2004 as part of my company secretary profile. So the number of women who were there in the SMTP, I believe it was not even 10%. And I was actually assuming that by now it must have been at least 1/3 per se, because that is also the proportion now we see women coming forth in the civil services. The recent last 2-3 years, the percentage of women in civil services has been around 1/3. And when I entered the civil services, it was like 18 to 20%. So I was reading this report which was released by AIMA KPMG, and it very well had mentioned that women who aspire to be in leadership profiles is around 79%, but when women grow higher up, that percentage of aspiration, it gets declined to 30%. And when we see the data per se, in India, the women at such profiles is like 18 to 20%. And when we talk about the profile of maybe CEO, CFO, it is like around 5 to 6%. So this is not the data which is very encouraging, of course. And we all need to understand that yes, there are various esteemed panel members here who are serving in various capacities in different boards in the corporate sector. But yes, there is a lot of scope for improvisation. So the first part of the question, which talks about women being represented there and women being acting just as a checkbox. So yes, one aspect is always there that representation matters. That representation, giving an opportunity is definitely very important. The other aspect is the access to influence. So when a woman is there on a board in any capacity it may be, whether she is having that access to influence or whether she is having that power in the board to kind of influence the decision making. And how it will come? It will not come through any physical power. It will come through the skills which we as women over a period of time, we inculcate in our personality, we inculcate in our professional life. So this access to influence is, I think, very, very important. And also the board also has a role and responsibility in this to play, because women in India have seen patriarchy domination in various forms. I have worked in remote parts in Tripura, I have worked in Haryana, and now I am in Delhi. So there is a transition which is ongoing in our society. So this responsibility also lies on the part of the board to give that kind of capacity building, to give that kind of skill set, to give that kind of orientation also to the women, So that yes, they have the confidence, but sometimes they feel a kind of an apprehension. So that therein lies the responsibility also to the board. And then the next part of the question, which was about the role of the nomination remuneration committees. Yes, they are very important, and how we are giving the space to women in our board, it also depends on how these NRCs are working. I am not an expert on this subject, but what I can say from little bit of my interaction with the corporate sector in last few years is that wherever women are given an opportunity, the boards become more inclusive, the decisions per se become more gender sensitive. And we all know that women per se, they are emotionally having that strength. When we talk about EI now, emotional intelligence, so emotional resilience, that is of course much better in women. So I think that is one part of it, is that yes, we are moving in a positive way, but still lot more needs to be done. And we as a women, we also need to upgrade our skill set, and also the responsibility lies on the boards and different committees to give that kind of opportunity, skill set to the women who are aspiring to be in the leadership profiles. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonal.